All right, let's go from here back to Capitol Hill right now, because we want to discuss this more with Republican Congressman Trent Franks of Arizona. He's joining me now. Congressman, thanks so much for coming in.
Well, thanks for having me on. I always appreciate it, Kate.
Thank you. Paul Ryan just yesterday said with the House bill, everyone gets a tax cut. He said that in a radio interview. Yet also yesterday, Kevin Brady, though, stopped short of that. And he said many people will see a tax cut. John Thune just said this morning. Listen to this, Congressman.
Can you guarantee that no middle-class family will see their taxes go up?
Nor, I don't think you can guarantee every filer that's going to be the case. Can you guarantee that every single filer might, have some different experience? I don't think you can guarantee that.
Congressman, at this point, are you comfortable being able to guarantee that no middle-class family will see their taxes go up?
I would never try to guarantee anything like that, but I am suggesting to you that the overwhelming majority of the American people will see a demonstrably clear tax relief that they can palpably feel. And I also am convinced that sometimes we look just to the tax relief as far as the money back in the taxpayer's pocket as the primary benefit. But the big benefit here is going to be how this is going to catalyze a tremendous growth in the economy, and that's going to hit everyone in an almost ubiquitous way. So I'm considered one of the most conservatives in terms of a full spectrum conservative in the entire Congress. And if I'm excited about this, it means something to the bottom line foundation of the economy. And, productivity is what it's all about, and this is going to incite tremendous surge in productivity in this country, in my opinion.
Well, one of the things out there, though, is what happens to the deficit. And one idea being floated to help pay for this, pay for the cuts, is adding a repeal of the individual mandate of Obamacare into the bill. Do you support adding that?
Well, I mean, I would love to see the individual mandate repealed. I think but I don't really predict that's going to happen. And I understand the concern about the deficit. And I will just say this. That seems to be the primary talking point for our friends on the left. And if that is true, then this represents the first time in the history of human civilization that they've been concerned about the deficit. So, but I'm concerned about it, genuinely. I'm convinced that with a lot of our projections and trajectories here, we forget what this is going to do to the economy and how that's going to create productivity. And literally, as it has in past circumstances, in the future, I believe it's going to see a bigger tax revenue for the government, and I think that's going to go a long ways towards mitigating any deficit issues.
I do think it's important to note, though, that you don't necessarily support adding Obamacare repeal into this bill.
No, I think that's support that. I do support that.
You're okay with it being in. You just don't think it's going to happen?
I'm not predicting it will happen, but I would love to see the Obamacare repeal go in. It's just the Senate rules there, as we've talked about many times, make it very difficult under this Byrd rule. This is the one rare opportunity for us to fit something through the Senate under their asinine rules that could really be truly historic for the American people. And
Let me ask you
glad
this.
too. Go ahead.
One thing I know that you care very much about is not in the bill right now, in the House version. It's the adoption tax credit. If it is not added in, are you a no on the House bill?
Well, I just say that would break my heart because, Republicans have always been under this, I think, noble mantra of adoption, not abortion. And we believe in that deeply. And I will tell you, every person on the leadership team, including Kevin Brady, embraces that. And I will make this prediction, that the adoption tax credit will either be completely in the way it was before, or they'll make it better. I know these men. They're committed to this. And Kathy McMorris Rogers is probably one of the most eloquent, poignant statements. She personifies what this is all about. And I just have to believe that we're going to, I'm not an expert in tax issues. I do mostly children's issues and national security. But I'm convinced that when we look at this from a fiscal point of view, you can't make an argument against the tax credit for adoption on fiscal basis. You just can't do it because we save so much every time a child is adopted.
But if it doesn't make it in, can you support the bill?
Well, I'm going to say to you, not to try to dodge your question, but I have so much conviction that this is going to be in. And I also say this, even without the adoption tax credit, and I'm going to break my neck to make sure it stays in, but even without it, if you look at how they've constructed this thing with the child credits and the family credits, just adopting a child is also going to bring tax relief. So there's already a built-in advantage for adoption in the existing bill. So I can't figure out a way to get to no on this bill. Sometimes they say, how do I get to yes? I don't know how we get to no on this bill reasonably. But I am convinced, and I say this with the strongest conviction, I know the people involved, and they are deeply committed to this, and we're going to fix this, and we're either going to leave the tax credit for adoption as it is, or we're going to make it better. And the main point is that our commitment will be to these little guys that just trying to find their way back home, just trying to find a place to live and grow up in a surrounding where they're loved and appreciated.
Congressman, one of the kindest dodges of a question I have definitely encountered, but that would always come from you. Let me ask you this. Let me finally ask you, I want to ask you about politics real quick, if we haven't talked about politics enough. Senator Flake, he's obviously not going to be running for re-election in your state. That leaves an opening for a Republican to run for that Republican seat to step up. Are you going to throw your hat in the ring for Senate?
I'm not going to run for the Flake seat. I wish Jeff Flake nothing but the very best God can give him. That's not a seat that I'm going to run for, but I believe that someone that will be a lot like, well, I say a lot like me, at least believe in a lot of the same things I do, will step up, and I will do everything I can to see that seat.
Would you support Martha McSally?
Well, I will support whoever the nominee is, but I'm not going to suggest who I would support in a primary yet, because I don't know who the actual candidates will be. But whoever wins that primary, I will break my neck to see them win on the Republican side. And I genuinely wish Jeff the best going forward in life that God can give him. This is a man who loves God, loves his country, loves his family, and even though he and I have had some profound disagreements politically, he is a decent and good human being.
Congressman Trent Franks, thanks for coming on.